So who's this class for? This class is for anyone who wants to grow their idea into real work. And in order to do that, you're going to have to do what I call information-rich collaboration, visual conversations, presentations, workshops, and all of that is packed into this masterclass. You might be a researcher, you might be a professional creative, you could be an educator or an executive. You need to know how to present an idea and grow it over time. So that's why we're here. We're here to help your great ideas grow, and I think that's probably why you're here too. So idea havers, what are you up against? I think you're up against 5 main things. The first one I call the norm. This is any force of normalcy, generally accepted things inside of a corporate culture, what is considered right and normal. Your big idea, for the most part, most big ideas tend to mean change. And organizations, like organisms, tend to resist any kind of change, not because they're evil or bad, but because businesses run on processes, and processes tend to be built around the desire for predictable outcomes, and ideas don't typically fall into that category. Next up, the room can be any situation where you find yourself face to face with resistance. This could be because something's misunderstood, something's not clear, or you're asking for some level of support that's out of order in terms of the overall process that manages change inside the organization you're pitching in. The ecosystem. Every organization, whether they're a client of yours, a venture capital firm, or just your own company, has a process for approving movement of resources around the organization. And this forms a sort of symbiosis between multiple elements and divisions inside of a company, but it can also work against new ideas. Again, big ideas often mean change, and ecosystems, like the norm, part of the norm, end up rejecting new ideas often. And so understanding the environment into which you're presenting is going to be really important. Next up, the plight. Everyone in any room that you present to has their own drive and motivation. Some find those drives and motivations on their job descriptions. Others are quite personal. Some of them are not written down anywhere, and they're just cultural. You need to understand who you're presenting to and what it is that drives them, not in an effort to persuade them or slickly slide by some approval process. Rather, I propose that every meeting, every presentation is an opportunity to build the team that supports this idea. Not everyone has to join it. If you're able to show anyone inside of a room how your idea supports them and helps them, is pointed in the same direction as them, you find yourself not looking to necessarily persuade or convince in that situation. Rather, you're just asking the room if they've seen the sufficient evidence needed to support the idea that you're presenting. And that puts you on very different footing, away from sales, away from persuasion, and more into, are you telling the right story? Are you providing the right information? Lastly, you may be up against yourself. As the expert in this idea, you may find yourself getting dragged down into details, talking about how this thing works, or the technology behind a thing, or the elements of the idea that need to be explained perhaps as part of the story after it's accepted, after people agree that this is a good idea and that they do want this desired outcome. If we try to put the how in front of the desired outcome and the power of the idea, you'll find yourself working against an organization or working against people's ability to provide you the attention you need to get your idea passed. You need to know 3 things. First of all, it's about focusing first on the outcome. You have a big idea because you'd like to see the world change just a little bit. And if you can talk about what it is that you're trying to bring about around the world, if you can talk about how you'd like to change the world as you see it and focus on an outcome, chances are people in the room can connect with that, or at least will tell you what they think about the quality of that outcome. And then you set to work together on trying to reach that outcome together, as opposed to putting the idea first. Next, if you agree on the outcome together, the meeting and presentation are about bringing everyone along on that path towards that outcome together. which isn't always a slick, perfect performance. Sometimes it's painstakingly detailed, and sometimes it's answering questions and having scary conversations where you don't know the answers to all the questions. Those are great moments in presenting big ideas, because what that does is builds your team together. It sets the tone for the team working together to achieve the answers, to find out what it will take to bring this idea to life. And as you go presenting, it's about building up the solution as you go. You will need to present many times in order to actually bring this idea to life. And knowing that you're on a journey is going to be very helpful. I find that if you can embrace the mystery or the truth that you don't exactly know how this idea is going to come to life, but you're committed to working together on that, the series of conversations you have towards that outcome is not just trying really hard to get an approval. It's a journey where you're actually building up the idea together, building mutual understanding together, and ultimately everyone that joins the room when you're presenting the big idea becomes part of the team that's supporting it, if you know what to ask for and how to ask for it.